Cities and Signs 3 by Italo Calvino. Translated by Willem Weaver. The man who is traveling and does not know yet the city awaiting him along his route wonders what the palace will be like. The barracks, the mill, the theater, the bazaar. In every city of the empire, every building is different and set in a different order. But as soon as the stranger arrives at the unknown city, and his eye penetrates the pine cone of pagodas and garrets and haymows, following the scroll of canals, gardens, rubbish heaps, he immediately distinguishes which are the prince's palaces, the high priest's temples, the tavern, the prison, the slum. This, some say, confirms the hypothesis that each man bears in his mind a city made of only differences, a city without figures and without form, and the individual cities fill it up. This is not true of Zoheb. In every point of this city you can, in turn, sleep, make tools, cook, accumulate gold, disrobe, reign, sell, question oracles. Any one of its pyramid roofs could cover the leprosarium or the odalisque's bath. The traveller roams all around and has nothing but doubts. He is unable to distinguish the features of the city. The features he keeps distinct in his mind also mingle. He infers this. If existence is, in all its moments, all of itself, Zoheb is the place of indivisible existence. But why then does the city exist? What line separates the inside from the outside? The rumble of wheels from the howl of wolves.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flame, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here, the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Ending. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama. Welcome back to Desperate Attune, everyone! Last session, we took down Jasper's Giselle cheese. I'm just going straight into it, because there's no segue.
Yeah, go on.
Last session, we took down Jasper's Giselle cheese and got revenge against the mercenaries who burned down so many of the plantations in Kethris, though of course we're not really the cause behind it, and as a consequence of this, our crew is gaining a tier this session, which means that the Rising Moon Sword School is getting more established in Uduasha, growing in both influence, power, and wealth, partly in terms of the stuff that they have gotten from more quasi-legally looting Jasper's home, after some help from the Fursan. The corruption wheels of Uduasha spin on, but this time in our protagonist's favor. Spidrohi has made a deal with the Falconers and the Fursan under the table to sort of lend the Rising Moon Sword School a veneer of legitimacy in Bundervest as a recognized organization. And so this session we're going to be following that development. What happened after Jasper was killed, after Saida got their hands on some of the furniture made from the trees from Kethris, which Saida has been looking for all the way since the beginning of the campaign, really. And we are also going to discuss a little bit what we want the story to focus on. So I think that brings everyone up to speed. Yes?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speed is important in the month of Ramadan.
Is it?
Is it? Because
Because you're fasting.
Oh my!
No.
That joke was not halal.
Yes,
I
gotta go,
a person
gotta go
with
fast.
a Muslim friend. That's it. I don't know if you saw this, by the way. I mean, I realized that I'm making these jokes without necessarily saying what my inspiration is, which is that I'm pretty sure I saw something earlier this month about how Pride Month wasn't just going to be about LGBTQ people, but also their allies. And it's really important that we recognize the allies of LGBTQ people. And I'm like, is it? During the 1 month that's meant to be Pride Month? Is that important? Okay.
Ramadan is for everyone.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Um,
Please continue, Prince.
okay, good. With that tangent out of the way,
Indeed.
yeah, we are going to do a little bit of an unusual session today in that we will be taking some time to look at downtime passing, like longer time moving ahead for the crew, and then we will get back into the action with a new opening incident later. And so the first thing I have in mind is an explanation for an involvement of demonic notice and a look into your physical lair changing, because your lair is not a secret. People can come there, and I think that it is now going to take on. It used to be just a rundown smithy, but I think as part of this tiering up, it's going to develop into something else. So we'll focus on that in a moment down the line. But let me ask you first, is there any scenes that you guys want to happen more immediately after the score last session? Or should we...
So, yeah, I think that... I know we discussed that Saida and the furniture may happen more immediately, but it's possible that actually the immediate scene is more recognizing that the furniture is here, but maybe burning it, which has always been that plan, is not something that that could happen in the timescale, in fact.
Yeah, okay. Very good. So do you want a scene of your cohorts bringing back this enormous table?
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
Okay, so... I'll have everyone be at the lair, and I'll frame a lot of things happening at the lair at one time, I think, and we'll open on that scene. So, you're all back at your lair, which is still kind of the old abandoned forge it once was. You're tier 1 now, so it's nicer looking, but it's still...
Tier 2?
Yeah, you're going on tier 2. I'm getting on that. We're getting on it being improved.
I see.
But you were tier 1, so it had gotten a little bit nicer, but it's still a little bit run down, definitely not all that official looking, definitely not decorated. And now the room in which you had this, what we established is you have a potted plant, a petrified potted plant, and a very dingy sofa. Now this room also has a very beautiful Kethrisy wooden table that's intricately carved with it's made for Jasper, so I think it's probably intricately carved with Akarosi designs.
Inlaid with ivory from I don't know if elephants exist, so I'm not sure what kind of ivory.
My spontaneous thought is that if elephants exist in the Shattered Isle setting, they're incredibly evil. But
yes, indeed. Great, so just like real life then.
I mean, elephant seals over in the Dagger Islands.
Yeah.
So ivory from elephant seal tusks, and also the wood is covered in crocodile leather.
Yeah.
Why would you take really expensive wood and cover it with leather? I don't know. I don't make furniture.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's only.
We don't make furniture either anymore.
I think it's only covered in parts of it, but it has all of these like carved designs all over it, and I think, having carried it back to the lair, which probably takes some time, right? This doesn't happen immediately after the score because you had to handle some of the Fursan going like, yes, we're okay with you taking these things and so on.
Yeah.
But I think we see Bald Murad and the cohort, the gang, like set it down in the center of the room, and it absolutely dominates the room. This like huge piece of luxury furniture. And he takes a seat on the sofa. And I think maybe Saida is around, but he hasn't seen you. But he says like, okay, now we just gotta tell Saida. And he looks around, like, because he's done the bulk of the heavy lifting. So he looks around if like anyone else wants to get up and do it. And I suppose if Saida isn't around, Pilot will be the one to fetch you.
Yeah.
With a silent nod.
I think I'm not around because I was pretty out of it at the end of the score. I wasn't even like in I wasn't able to be around really, I think, more correctly. So
you also have a prisoner, I should remind you. So that's also a thing. We can get back to that. But yeah,
so I think that like maybe I'm just like resting or something, right? When Pilot comes to find me. And I guess Pilot's literally not going to say anything, so I don't know why I'm being brought, apart from Pilot thinks it's important.
Yeah. Yep.
So, great.
Yeah, and then you step into this central room, and I mean, this is probably the first time. Maybe you've heard that this was a thing, but I think seeing it is a whole other matter, because you see the ancestral wood, like, unmistakably, to you anyway, because you have supernatural senses. I don't think you're an expert at identifying wood, but you can sense it. That this is, and this, since it's a huge table, I think this is probably made from like more than one tree. Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe it's more impressive if it's solid wood.
Yeah, true.
You know, maybe it's that like they cut down an absolutely massive tree, and there's no joining. There's no like, right? It's just one single piece, like the main body of the desk itself, maybe not the drawers or anything.
Yeah.
So it's huge.
Absolutely.
So I think that like I see it, and I'm gonna roll resolve resist, I guess. Because I was trying to sorry, what?
Oh no, you finished. I was going to say that after you do the resolve resist, I have a request for what you should do.
Oh, okay.
For you to consider.
A small detail I will introduce as you do this is I think Bald Murad gets up, and I think he, like, the rest of the court aren't sure why you're doing this, but I think he actually understands. Like, because we've seen that he has this whole connection to Ramu and like the old ways. So he has the look of appropriate respect.
Yeah. And no, I had a similar moment literally earlier today because I was trying to explain the Indian, Southeast Asian also weaving tradition of ikat, and the first image that comes up if you Google it is from the Victoria and Albert Museum, which really, and I rolled a 5, which is about how I did in real life. So, what do you think I should do?
Yes. So I'll say my suggestion and then introduce some lore. I think you should figure out what clan this tree is from. And secondly, I think this tree's, as you said, I think the drawers are from a different tree entirely. I think you should figure out where that's from either. And the lore I want to introduce is that in Kethris, when two families marry, it had been a long-standing tradition of grafting a piece of the other clan's tree together. to kind of like unite the families together, as it were, literally in their trees. And that's so in a sense, like a tree with another tree is something that's beautiful and kind of sacred.
Just not in this one.
So yeah, this is particularly fucked up because it looks like that, but it's all wrong.
Yeah.
I was gonna say these are ancestor trees. When you craft, part of one tree onto another one, the ancestors are kind of meeting.
Yeah.
And,
And I think that the thing that really feels wrong, the thing that is that it is fully dead. Right? Because the ancestor trees, they're both alive in that they're literally alive trees, and they're alive in that they resonate in the ghost field, right?
Yeah.
They are what keep us safe from the Deathlands. And this is is it of accuracy construction as well? Do you reckon it was like an accuracy woodworker who?
No, I think it's more aligned with Jasper. He had it made here in Uduasha. Like he's made most of his career here, so he probably instructed them like make it in this style. But it was made.
So it was in Uduashan craftsman somewhere in the industrial district or Golampit who made it, right?
I think it's the Bright Harbor style because that's a flashy place.
Ah, yeah. Makes sense. Sure.
So I think that I will see this and resisting the compulsion to almost break down in tears. Instead, I will walk over to it, place my hand on top of like one of the carvings, and I will just say, look what they have done to us.
Yeah. And I think as you say this, like your cohort who is there, right, your gang of Dejal and all of these people, they look like they don't fully understand. And then I think Murad looks around at them.
Yeah.
And so, sort of the gravity of the situation sets in, right, when they see how heavily affected he is by this.
Yeah. And he's not heavily affected by many things that you would expect him to.
No,
right?
no, exactly. Yeah. So there is like a solemn silence coming over the people of the sword school who are not any of the player characters, I guess, because they're not in the scene. But there's definitely a silence spreading.
And I think I would say I don't think that we'll really be able to do it, but we should find out where this was from. We should see whether anyone still lives of these lines, though knowing Jasper, I suspect that's unlikely, and even if they live, if it had been in our village, I do not think I could bear to see it. So, Murad.
Yeah.
I want you to ask around, see whether the color of the main body reminds someone of something.
Will do.
Pilot? I presume she just looks at me. Yeah. See whether there's someone among the refugees who might be willing to come here and study it. Tell us a bit more about it.
Perfect NPC for that.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Bhejal, if I recall correctly, your patron deity is a war god.
Yeah. Why?
Well, this is a prize of war. And I'm looking to know what a very good way of desecrating it might be. So you might be the best placed to tell us. Though I might still just burn it.
I'll Meditate on it, he says. Not really sure how to ask your
No.
deity how to desecrate
Well,
prices
see, the
of
thing
war.
is,
But
I as somebody who is not just making it up as I go along, but also succeeding at that, I don't see why anybody else can't do this. I think
Yeah.
like everybody should be able to do it.
yeah.
What's the problem, man?
Mhm.
And then I will look at the rest of the sword school and I will say, the Rising Moon is a school of vagrants, vagabonds, of thrown together refugees. We are not, as much as we would like to be respected, adored, but this is why we are necessary. And if ever you find yourself asking why you do the things that you do, why we do the things we do, if you have a better way, I'm all ears. But sometimes the only thing is the edge of the blade.
Yeah. I think, people are listening to you, and there is this solemn silence. There's no like cheering of agreement. It's just like this feeling that Saida is right, spreading through the people, and like this is why we do it. And I mean, this table was paid for in blood. Getting this back was not easy, right? So yeah,
absolutely. And I think that I am going to go back out into the training grounds and not really do any training, but I'm not sure on a 5 that I can bear to be in the room with it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I owed it to myself and to everyone else, I guess, to like look at it and acknowledge it, but I don't think I'm able to like engage with it.
Yeah.
And it's partially why I delegated the work of finding out about it to other people, right? Because I wasn't sure I could. But it was also because, like you say, like Pilot's the best person, and like in many ways Murad's the best person, and Bejal's not necessarily the best person, but sometimes responsibility is good for a young person. And I am going to I'm going to chain smoke a pack of cigarettes. I'm going to do.
And I think, let's stay in the scene. So everyone is back here. You are chain smoking a cigarette, and as mentioned, it is some time after the score. Like the paperwork's been kind of settled, which is why you could bring this here. Again, you couldn't really take this out under the Fursan's noses, so they had to give you someone had to sign a bullshit permit for you to drag this here. And the bureaucracy is in movement. You can sense it. And as you are sensing this, as you are smoking these cigarettes, you hear the blast of trumpets. And Bundervest is greatly disturbed by one of the very fearful things that happens here. Because Bundervest, especially the hospitality ghetto, is a haphazard place where people have built as they like, right? And people's homes are here questionably legally. And so as the horns blast out, you hear people, not in exactly like fear and panic, but in an oh shit, this is bad voice, go, the building inspectors, how's answer it?
Yeah. I invite another PC to deal with this, because Said is not doing great.
Absolutely, but this is what is happening. A procession of building inspectors here. And I think this happens from time to time in Bundervest, because occasionally House Anzarek just decides to rebuild something, right? And it's not like you can... Well, probably you can file formal complaints, but this is about as useful as in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like, people are just going to tear it down anyway.
Yeah.
Should we have a proper introduction for House Anzarek? I don't think we've seen them on screen yet.
Please do. Please tell us about them.
All right. So I'll just read out the description.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So House Anzarek, is one of the demon houses. And House Anzarek are the slaves of the demon prince Sirek, the world maker unmaker, whose aspects are the bull and the ant. House Anzarek are the builders and planners of Uduasha and producer of the mightiest warriors. Their great mines produce mineral wealth for the house, but Anzorek's fortune is in gold, silver, and gems, the wealthiest of the demon houses by far. House Anzorek's scions are always engaged in some new project to rival the architects and engineers of the Empire, and more than any house, they have embraced Akarosi technology. Wondrous devices and inventions of the old work in tandem with the latest sparkcraft. The future will be Uduashan.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, and so, well, these are the people who occasionally rebuild things and occasionally tear buildings down in Bundervest. And now they are here. And they're headed, no surprise, for your lair.
Weren't they also part of the Kethrisi, dispossession?
Oh yeah, they are
In
highly
some ways they
responsible
all
for
were,
it.
right?
Yeah, in some ways all of the demon houses were, but House Anzorek among the most responsible because they control the banks. And yeah.
Great. Okay.
So in a way they were the most directly responsible for it. Absolutely. Let's see the other characters' reactions to the building inspectors coming for you before you've even seen them. Like, how do you react to this? Because again, in Bundervest I think they're pretty universally bad news. They show up, they condemn your house, and then they just kind of pull it down.
Let's see. I can go. So I think what I'd been doing was kind of taking point in terms of the negotiation of us reappropriating the stolen cultural artifacts of Kethris, wink wink. Which basically involved, I think we established that the Fursan are now our ward bosses like properly. And I think it makes sense to pay them, especially like fictionally right now. This makes a lot of sense to pay them since essentially we're using them. They'll take their cut of the proceedings.
Yep.
So that's 3 coin, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So I'm going to take that off. And there's a clock now for tracking when the ward boss isn't paid. Just a few bookkeeping things to remind people of. But I think I've just done that. And it's been a long and exhausting and very boring day. Like, Bidrohi doesn't care for this, but like someone has to do it.
Yeah.
And I think he's been heading back and looking forward to, I don't know, a nice bath with the hot water that we have, that we shouldn't have. Maybe some gulab jamun, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe a gulab jamun in the bath. There's an idea.
That's such a terrible idea.
Yeah, but it is an idea, and a young man must experiment and learn things for himself.
What's with your characters and having food in wet places?
Say what
Oh
now?
my god, why would you say that in that? Why would you do that?
Very well.
Okay.
Yeah, so what do your characters do? And I don't like
That's
it.
true.
Mm.
Well, I have no response to that.
Yes.
So
why would you? Yeah. Please go on.
Yeah. So he's thinking about. Well, now I feel weird, but he's thinking about it. He's thinking about the bath and the gulab jamun. And he's just heading back, and that's when the earth starts to shake with clamoring trumpets. Prince, is there anything magical about these trumpets, or is it like just straight up a whole bunch of trumpets?
No, there's nothing magical about the trumpets. They're just announcing the presence. Yeah.
So I think I probably see them first because I'm on the way back to the sword school. What do I see?
Yes, very good. So what you see is there is a procession, and it becomes apparent, I think, that this is not just House Anzorek's normal building inspectors. They are here too, and they are men in official robes who walk at the front, members of the bureaucracy, but also proud members of House Anzorek, which remind me, what is their symbol again?
The bull and the ant.
Yeah, so I think these are emblazoned with the ant then, because they're part of the construction committee. So I think that's the bull is probably more associated with like wealth and power, right? And the ant with the building side of things and technology.
Yeah, maybe there's a few other things like, so these are like Serex aspects. These are might, sun, moon, mountain, bull, and ant. So maybe an ant and a mountain?
Yeah. They have these proudly blazoned across their chests. Then there are the trumpeters who walk with them. And then there's like a small retinue of guards. But at the center of it all is something that you have not seen before, and something that does not come to Bundervest very often. And it is a 6-legged waxwork golem, which these things are strong, right? But it's carrying something of such immense weight that even the waxwork construction is straining and struggling under it. And what that is appears to be a huge block of stone with a giant iron crank sticking out of it. And that appears to be the extent of it. It's like a mighty stone cube and an iron lever or crank coming out of its side. And walking beside this is a huge, strong, shirtless man.
I don't like it.
I mean, I'm a local guy. I've grown up in Uduasha, and I keep my ear to the ground. Would I possibly know what the hell I'm looking at?
You can roll something if you want. I'm not going to say no. I don't think you've seen this directly, but you've probably heard of it.
Yeah.
It's something that is brought out for more important matters than just tearing down some rando's house.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to call it concert because I probably have heard of it, which probably would give me less good information than directly knowing. So I'm going to call it that, though. Fortune roll, right?
Yep.
All right, let's go. Oh, we get an extra. We get an extra bonus because we have high society.
Yeah, these are. This is high society indeed.
High society carries the day. Yeah. 6.
You get a 6. Yes. Yeah. I think you're right in that you get less good information. I think what you learn is the golem that is being used for this. It's that which you recognize, and not the rock that it's carrying. And the golem is exclusively used as the personal carrier for actual demons or demon aspects of the house. In this case, there's a rock on it, but this is the carrier that, like, if the Pus of Ixis were prone to traveling in style, it would ride on one of these, right? It's just not.
Are people like bowing and so on? And like,
like there's people first they panic because of the building inspection, and then they realize what is going on, and there is some extent of bowing and scraping.
Yeah, well, might as well join.
Yeah. And
are they? Sorry, I was going to ask. Are they clearly heading for us?
Yes.
Is that obvious? Okay.
Yeah, they are. This is not a subtle demonic notice because House Anzarek is not subtle. Like.
All right. Then I'm bowing in front of our door. Doesn't have to be the scene. I don't have to like immediately start responding to it because I think it'll take them a while to get up here. But I'm waiting respectfully at our door.
Okay. Yeah. And so one of these heralds steps up, and he says, "There is a missive and an audience demanded by House Anzarek. I would ask that you gather the decision makers of this domicile in accordance with rule," and then he rattles off like 37b paragraph 48.
Yep.
Asking you to assemble the heads of the families inhabiting this domicile, which I guess is basically you guys.
It kind of basically is us guys, which I kind of okay. But it's really good that Saida's having a total fucking breakdown right there. That's so convenient, man.
Yes. And I think as he says this, the golem kind of sits. Again, they don't normally do that because they can walk around just fine, but somehow this has been strained so much that it kind of sinks together. This like 6-legged, shapeless wax thing just kind of sits down like a dog with the huge rock on top of it.
I'm imagining a spider just folding itself down.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Absolutely hinged behavior.
Yeah.
Since this is Cerex, I think it's in the style of an ant, actually.
As they can Mushvik turn up and make things worse.
Of course he can.
But before you do that, very briefly, I think this is the moment when Balmurad emerges on his errand for Saida. Okay, Balmurad, we have esteemed guests. Please go bring very much masala chai, and we'll need lots more gulab jamun.
He stops, and he goes like, almost nothing could deter him from this task that Saida has set, except this. So he's okay.
Go quickly.
Yep.
And I think I summon people. And yes, Mushvik is about to come and make things worse, right?
Yeah, anyone who wants to be in the scene can be. If you don't think like your character would be there, they don't have to be. But
I feel
But
the
Mushfik-
window for making
yeah.
things worse has closed slightly because Vidrohi nicely invaded them in.
Uh-huh.
So I'll have to think of another
Oh.
opportunity.
Oh shit. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's alright. It's alright. No, it's
Yeah.
fine.
I'm not really
Oh,
sorry
no.
because that sounds like horrible what you were planning then.
Oh,
Yes.
So why don't you tell us what you were planning, and then we can imagine it in our minds.
I mean, the short version of it is most like we have just popped out and told them to fuck off.
Ah,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
great, good, great.
fantastic.
But probably it would have been more elaborate if we got it rolling.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm going to have to invest in reflexes to shut Mushfik up before he can do these things.
Indeed. Yep.
Yeah.
Alright,
Hey, so I suppose if you just turn up and see what happens, if that's the vibe here.
I think that's the vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. What next is going to happen is that the big muscular shirtless man who was walking next to the entourage steps up to the crank, and he begins to turn it, and it's clearly straining him hugely to turn this like enormous crank around, and an absolute cacophony of noise emerges from the rock at its center. And at first it sounds like just noise until you realize that all of this grinding is producing speech.
Oh
And
my
so
god.
in an impossibly loud voice that is just a racket that echoes throughout the entire neighborhood, you hear, "I am Scream Grinder, voice of Sirek. I bring blessings." And that is all he has time to say before the big man is so exhausted he must take a pause.
Wait, its name, I want to be clear, is Scream Grinder.
Yes, the voice of Sirek.
You know what I love about the demon houses is that they always seem so nice and reasonable. You know, the pus, the Scream Grinder, it's so nice. It's
Yeah.
so easy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
Detroit.
is the Shattered Isles.
What in the Transformers is this now?
Yeah, indeed.
I don't know what robot. I don't want to know what robot is
This
this.
is clearly a Decepticon.
Yeah, it's obviously Starscream.
Okay.
Yep.
New score idea. We get the Blue Smoke Troop a contract to act as vocal coach for this guy.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it is Transday of Visibility. This guy
You
needs
know,
his
you're right.
training.
It is. Yeah.
I don't see the trans person here.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
Okay, I'm going to roll resolve to be able to withstand this absolute blast of noise.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate. You are being confronted with the supernatural. Anyone who doesn't have iron will is going to be discombobulated by this.
I mean, this is I rolled 5. I mean, it's pretty bad, but like Mushfik has the room next to me, and the walls are thin, and he snores at night.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah.
I, having heard from the inside that something called Scream Grinder is here,
Yeah.
have no choice but to respond.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna step out probably like, I'm 3/4 of the way through this pack, and it is in India. A pack of cigarettes is 20 cigarettes. So, and these are not modern cigarettes that are somewhat tolerable, I guess. I mean, they're still obviously awful and give you cancer. But I really think like we've got that kind of filter. So I am going to stand up and walk outside, and I will look at Vidrohi and say, "House Sirek demands an audience now."
I give the biggest shrug I could ever shrug, as though
Yeah.
I didn't do it. Clearly,
Yeah.
Well, no,
you can see who did it. It's right in front.
the Scream Grinder is not attractive at all. That's how I know that it's not Vidrohi. If it was like a hot demon, then maybe, yeah.
Saying the Scream Grinders. I mean, how do you even describe that? Would have probably woken Mushfik up.
Yeah.
Probably. Then should I also roll something? How
Sure.
bad is it?
Yeah, sure. Roll resolve. Just
Let's roll something to see how put off Mushfik is by what just happened, because he was fast asleep as well, right?
yeah. I think basically the Scream Grinder sounds like, what if a construction site noise was understandable and you could hear voices in like all the jackhammers and shit. So it's not pleasant.
Yeah. Oh, hang on.
From last session,
signed
I'm
up.
just taking Iron Will so that I don't have to do this in my life.
Good.
Wait, did I already have it? No, I don't think so. No, I didn't. Okay, great.
Point of detail is that I didn't take Iron Will earlier because it gives me another die in Resolve Resist, which is like loads of dice, and I don't think that's necessary. But clearly, I didn't have that die in Resolve when I rolled to see the cabinet. So somehow, it is this moment of sitting here, smoking this pack of cigarettes, just thinking everything sucks, which has like crystallized something in me. That I'm just like, fuck everything! So, it's good.
So, incidentally, wish we could resolve the 4 on Resolve. And so it's not too bad. I think it's sort of just being woken up in the middle of, like being regularly woken up in the middle of deep sleep.
Yeah.
But he comes down anyway. I think it's in his sleeping clothes, right? Eyes barely open, and he goes, what's going on?
I mean, from your perspective, it's just waking up in Dhaka.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah. And you see the sight, I guess, of this entourage of like 2 heralds, 2 trumpeters, a bunch of guards, and a huge shirtless man turning the crank of what appears to be a giant stone mill.
And I think the first thing which we're going to think of it, like without any context, is like, oh, is this? Are they here to celebrate our victory?
Yeah. And in fact, maybe that is what happens, because I think the man resumes cranking, and the Scream Grinder, having said that it is bringing blessings, resumes like from this with, "This building is condemned. Sirek in infinite wisdom is investing."
Okay.
You're presented with a paper, and what is happening here is that as this paper is presented to, I guess, Saida, who has the best understanding of it, it is not a choice for you to upgrade your lair to tier 2. You are being forced to do it. Sirek is investing in you.
Of course, yes. This is you either let us buy you out, or we will buy you out anyway, and you won't get any money from it.
Yes.
This is what the vulture capitalists in the country I live in do. So, fun fact.
Yeah.
This is vulture capitalism at its finest, except it's made by literally a demon, a hand-powered one at that.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's a handmade demon. See.
Artisanal.
Yes.
I bet.
That's nice.
I bet Scream Grinder could turn that crank on his own, but he wants us to learn and become strong.
Sure.
Yeah, or it's just an effort of showing off. But the voice only emerges when the crank is turned, and it seems to be a huge amount of work to turn this handle. This is like one of the biggest, strongest people you have ever seen, right? And it utterly exhausts him to provide the sound that lets Scream Grinder speak.
Okay. I think I know what I want to do. Yeah, I want to look at Bidrohi and say, you reckon our lads could push that thing?
Reckon or what?
Our lads.
Oh, yeah. I look at it and I say, well, I think the rest of them, like all together, like maybe, but like all we need is Sherekatam. If Sherekatam were there, this thing would be like speaking eloquently. Like you couldn't stop Scream Grinder. You couldn't make Scream Grinder shut up.
Well, in that case, I think it's clear what we should do.
Bidre waits because it's not clear.
And we'll say,
by the way, it is totally open for you guys to like study what is going on here or gather more information. I just want to push for that.
Yeah, no, I completely understand.
I was saying, I think it is clear for Mushfik because of what Dietrich said what to do. Is like, sorry, what do you mean by investment? And he starts grinding, like turning the crank himself to get.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly.
Okay.
Well, I knew Mushfik and I were on the same level. That's great.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
exactly what I wanted.
Okay, so this is some sort of action, I think. Like, you're pretty strong, but I think it's an action roll. I wonder if it's a wreck, but it's up to you.
Or maybe
I
it's
mean,
a prowess.
this is a show of sheer strength, right? I'm not fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think wreck is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there is risk involved because you're stepping up and like touching the demon, which not that it's dangerous to touch it probably, but you are still touching House Anzorek's person, as it were. So yeah, I think it's risky standard. Like I think you can do it because you are strong and athletic. But I also think standard effect is just enough to like make it speak, not enough to impress everyone.
Okay.
Beyond that.
I would like
Can I set
to impress everyone. Yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, can I set Mushfik up? But
some kind of setup action or an assistance would help. Because as I look at my character sheet, I have a level 2 harm from the electrocution from last time. So I'm at -1 die.
Yeah.
Yes, I think in that case, I want to study it.
Okay.
And I would like to make clear at this moment that I am one stress away from trauma. And there's a reason that I went out and chain smoked a pack of cigarettes instead of drowning my sorrows in mango. And that reason is that I'm bad at dealing with my problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that I would like to try and understand what the hell is going on.
Okay, sure. You can study it. I think it's controlled standard in that case.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is some risk involved, but not too bad.
Yeah, and I want to explicitly study its name so that I might be able to speak it for my purposes later.
Okay, yeah.
That's okay?
Scream Grinder is one of its names, for sure. It's one of its real names, quote unquote, so...
Whatever real means, yeah. Controlled standards. Let's go. I rolled a 6.
Okay, so you're aiming to use this to set Mushfik up, in part, and also to get information. Yeah. I think I'm fine with both of these being possible at once. So, partly I think how you set Mushfik up for success is you realize that the demon actually is very keen on speaking. So the reason you set it up here is mostly like you establish that Mushfik can do this somewhat confidently without any of your people being like shocked at it or without causing too much offense, hopefully. So what I'm saying in mechanical terms is now controlled standard, but Mushfik can trade it up to risky great by just going ham on the thing, I guess.
Right. Yeah, great.
And I think the information you're learning here is quite simple. House Anzorek are the people who crushed Kethris and now own most of your lands. They're aiming to repeat that. Like, before you become a threat, they want to own your homes.
Sure. Yeah.
It's... because, they're being the landlords for the Kethrisi has proven profitable to them in the past.
Yes. Yeah.
I say we let that happen and then fuck with them.
Yeah, it's perfectly possible.
Why broke what ain't fixing?
Yeah. So this has little to do with the schemes of the other demon houses. They are just here to do what they do, which is own Kethrisi people's homes.
Great. Fantastic. Amazing.
Okay, so that's the setup. Sorry, go. You finish.
Yeah, so I think that... so is Mushfik approaching from an angle where I can kind of maybe make a face at him?
Sure, yeah. I think what Mushfik was just coming down the stairs, right?
Oh, great.
So
okay, so as he's coming down the stairs and walking past me to go and do this, I will just say, let it say whatever it is it wants to say. It wants to run its mouth.
All right. So
So you're looking for an assist, right? Huh? You're looking for an assist as well, no?
That would help, yeah.
I think the best person to assist you is the strongest guns in Uduasha. Where the hell is Clem?
Clem was in the workshop, but I will make my resolve resistance now, and I'm also going to declare I had 5 XP from last session. I'm putting 2 in playbook to grab kindred spirit because I've got something, so I will resist now.
What does it do?
Kindred spirit is when you honestly announce a cause, belief, or intention to someone, you immediately learn how they feel about it. Moreover, you have the initiative in the situation and can react before they do. So the issue is, similarly, assisting would trauma me out.
Yeah, and I think
That's me.
Maybe for Clem here, the reason why this is like very unpleasant is, I mean, this kind of, you have war flashbacks, right? And this kind of noise of horrible screaming demon stuff seems very like what was used in the war. So maybe this is not something you want to see, in fact.
Alright. Yeah. I have to do everything in this house.
No, I think I am going to assist.
Want that trauma you out?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's Blades in the Dark, baby.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So she's braver than
So
I.
how are you assisting?
I think when Mushfik looks back, Clem shivering, even though, like, clearly in the midst of having a flashback, just connects eyes with him and nods.
All right.
Okay. So you're rolling at controlled, standard, or risky great, your choice. And you have your normal amount because your wound is being compensated for with assistance. And you may push yourself or do what you please as well, of course.
Oh, why not? Let's do it.
So
And
which
so
are you going for?
you said it was control standard, right?
Yeah, or risky great. It's up to you because you can trade position for effect, right? So
Yeah, let's do risky great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What if I did desperate extreme?
Okay.
What if?
Okay, so with extreme effect, you're going to get something that you maybe don't want, which is the Scream Grinder, the voice of Sir X personal attention. Like, with great effect, I think you impress the house, but I think with extreme effect, you impress the demon. I'm not sure if that's something you want, but it makes sense to me, so...
Absolutely hinged behavior, you gotta do it.
You can also push for effect, so you could go for risky extreme, I guess.
No, but I want to roll something desperate right off the bat.
Yeah, okay. Desperate extreme with 1 bonus die it is.
Just thinking, what would Mushfik do? It's 1, 1, and 2.
Oh no. For what it's worth, I still have my special armor for resisting supernatural consequences, and it's possible that I'm going to pop it now because this seems bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it seems bad.
Yeah. This seems pretty bad, yeah.
Okay. So, I think Mushfik turns the handle and the demon begins to speak again. And I think the failure here is that it doesn't say anything that it wasn't going to say anyway, which is basically it. I'm not going to do the thing, right? But it speaks more invigorated because Mushfik is pushing it hard. And it says basically something to the extent of you have been blessed with this investment. It's still going to cost you the normal amount of coin it costs you to tier up, by the way, because we can't do everything around here. But,
and by everything I mean anything.
Yeah. But they are going to finance you with the resources and, if you want, the manpower to rebuild your lair completely. So that's a thing that's going to happen. This is just the consequence of it speaking, right? And because the extreme effect wasn't achieved, it doesn't say like, wow, you're so cool or anything different. It just kind of goes on completely unperturbed by that the person operating the crank has changed. And Mushfik, The desperate consequence here is this voice. This, like, you are standing next to this noise, being bombarded with it, and it vibrates down into your bones. And it turns out that whosoever turns the crank of this demon becomes bound to it.
Okay.
This is something we have just learned. So the vibrations sink into your bones, and you will now be able to hear this demon's commands wherever you are in the city. It can wake you up at any time and just scream at you to do what it wants.
I would like to
Do I
resist
want
this,
this?
please.
Uh-huh.
Do I want
On
this?
Mushfik's
I
behalf.
don't think I want this.
Yeah, you can resist
Yeah.
on Mushfik's behalf, Saida.
Yeah, and I have my special armor back. I'm warded.
Mm-hmm.
I may expend my special armor to resist a supernatural consequence.
Yes, which is interesting because that won't reset until the end of the next score. So.
Yes, exactly. It won't come back until the end of the next downtime, and we're about to go into long time. So actually, when I burn the cabinet, my warding is not going to be there. But I think like it's very important that I do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, what does it feel like when Mushfik is being bound to this demon to the rest of us? Like, what do we...
Yeah. To those of you with supernatural... Like, to other people, I don't think it feels like anything other than looking at him and, you know, seeing, like, him physically vibrate as if he were operating like an old-fashioned jackhammer with no protections, right? Like, this doesn't look healthy from the outside. It looks like the kind of vibrations that will fuck up your back and your shoulders and everything. But with your supernatural senses, what you see, I guess, is that it's like Mushfik is a string, and he's being struck to the exact frequency of this demon, and the vibration just doesn't stop. Right? It's like his soul is being tuned.
So I have a voice for song, and I feel this vibration, and I hold Bidrohi. I put my hand on Bidrohi's shoulder and I say, "Lend your stars some strength." And I will gently hum and then slowly do like an operatic aria type thing in tune with this frequency. And I think that I don't know what it's going to do. Maybe it'll spread to me. Maybe it'll focus on me. Maybe everybody in this community gets like 1% of this instead of one person getting 100%. I don't know.
I think I think the thing that's going to happen here, actually, is like you interfere with this, with the harmony of this, and the consequence that's going to happen instead is that Mushfik is fine because this is a fairly sensitive process, like tuning someone to a demon, even if it's just a little bit disturbed. That's fine. However, it turns out that Scream Grinder's ability to be understood is also like very fine-tuned, and so it's going to tell you like the terms of the contract, except at the point where Saida interferes, no one can understand it.
Okay. Sorry.
Good job, guys.
So if we don't, is the way the contract work that if we don't understand, then it doesn't count?
No, that's not how it works.
That's not how colonialism works.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll take it to a judge and we'll say that
hey, there's
definitely a clause like this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
listen,
we don't have.
Yeah. Unfortunately, noise is one of the official bureaucratic languages of Uduasha. I think you'll find it's in one of the clauses somewhere.
It's mostly noise.
Great, fantastic.
Well, it is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it is.
So I think this is how to twist it to like a less desperate but still interesting consequence. That there are now like clauses.
So we don't know what we've signed ourselves up for.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's imprinted on your soul. Just take it to a soul reader and like have them like, I don't know, like psychically take a phonograph of it afterwards and then put it on a wax cylinder and we can play it back and have it translated by a scribe.
Yeah.
It's simple stuff.
Normal.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Tight. Cool, tight.
Yeah. So Mushvik keeps turning the handle until he gets bored of it, I guess. Like at the point where all you seem to be producing is incoherent, horrible noise. It's
I think probably not for that long, right? Because like you said, I mean, it probably just feels it's I'm picking up bad vibrations. It's not giving me excitations. So.
So
good. It's better that way. Don't get excited by this.
Yes. So the voice, if it can even be called that, stops, and I think the scribe that was showing you, like the papers of like we have official orders to condemn and rebuild your house, steps forth, and probably just says in a low voice, like, if you have objections to the voice of Sirek's decision or any questions about it, I direct you to. And in a very quiet, polite voice comes the whole, like, of course, this is a command by one of the demon princes.
Yes.
But you can overrule it and like object to it.
You just have to go through this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, but like, what did he say? I'm going to. Okay, you don't have to tell me what he said, but I'm going to note down the avenue of asking for explanations.
Yeah. Absolutely. You have an avenue of asking for explanations. You can follow up on this. But the gist of the deal basically is that you permit House Ansarek to rebuild your lair from the ground up, and you're going to have a much nicer lair. You're going to have like a lair worthy of a tier 2 faction. But of course, they're not your ward boss or anything. It's not like a meaningful amount, but they will have the, you will pay them rent, but it'll be like in the context of a blade score, right? That's going to be negligible next to the ward boss bribes and everything. The point of them doing this is so that they can, if they want to, kick you out of your lair.
Oh, I just moved to a new lair. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're going to let us spend all the money to like develop it, and then they're going to gentrify.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. So congratulations, you have encountered the gentrification demon.
Okay. Okay. That's what it is. It's fine.
Yep.
I think what the ideal thing is that once we see our new layer, we don't paint the scene. We don't get to define what it is.
Well, I think you do to some extent, because I think it's interesting, but it's out of character. It's not in character, right? It's not your character's decisions.
You know what
we as players do?
Each of us should pretend we're a different aspect of the demon Sedek.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
So
and then like I think Prince should just assign an aspect at random, and then we have to be like, this is why this aspect is reflected in this part of our lair.
So this is also a little bit my explanation for why we have this long downtime, because now one of the demon prince houses is rebuilding your lair, and it's going to be very difficult to resume normal operations, particularly since you're primarily a school. So while they're rebuilding this, you're going to have to work on just maintaining normal operations. I think the one blessing in disguise here is that House Ansarek builds things pretty fast, I think. Like when they want to.
When they want to, I was going to say,
Yeah.
I guess it depends on how much they want to. I think that as this happens, I think it's just going to strike Saida that like she's got to do something, or it's just going to happen again. And I don't know that I can go through seeing another cabinet. So okay, I got to figure something out.
Yeah. No, absolutely. This is also when you're sort of officially noticed by the demon houses, right? Like Anixis has paid you some attention before, but that was mostly under the table. Now, all the other demon houses are going to notice that this has happened too. So
Absolutely.
But get that fucking table out of there before some House Ansarek civic interior designer comes in and says, "We build the room around this table."
Yes. And then while we build it around this table, we're gonna take it away. And make a replica of it, because obviously you can't be trusted to look after your own cultural heritage. I'm depressing myself the more I speak.
Don't worry about it. I'll cheer you up. I'll tell you how I make this go faster. I don't think it makes a mechanical difference, but I'll tell you how I make it go faster.
It is, Ramzan. You're right. We should go faster.
Yes. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be annoying. I'm going to be there for construction every single day, and I'm going to be really annoying. And not in a obstructionist, get this man out of my sight kind of way. but like in a really helpful, really nice, please have this gulab jamun kind of way.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway, having said its piece, the Scream Grinder rises up on its ant legs of the golem beneath it and walks backwards out of Wundervest because there is no room to turn. And its procession follows it.
I mean, golems are 360 degrees, it's fine.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess you've also learned that the big strong man that was like turning this hand, or at least Seda has learned this now, is somehow like bound to the demon itself, and he's not quite like a hollow in the Dosful sense, but he does not have his freedom.
There is a part of him where his heart should be, and instead that part of him is filled with screams.
Yeah,
I know that feeling.
He's just doing an unpaid internship, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this House Amsadek, the House of Unpaid Internships, that's really...
Yeah, labor is its own reward.
Yeah, you're right. I was gonna be like, you could argue all of them are, but I think, slaves of the Demon Sarek definitely are the House of Unpaid Internship, so...
Yeah.
It's great. It's great for exposure.
Yeah.
It's great for... We did learn about him, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's shirtless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so please take this away from me now.
You have been blessed by a second demon's attention. Hooray for you.
Yay. We just need to get them to fall in love with each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the plan. We become friends with all of them, and this way we're untouchable. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, this is as good a time as any to tell the audience that I have changed my playbook.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know
Interesting.
this.
Please tell us about that.
Tell me about this.
Okay, so I used to be the Duellist, which I wrote.
Yep.
I have decided to become the Sturman, which is a playbook that Prince wrote in his Skovlander playbooks, which everyone should access and look at because they're great.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yes,
They are
very good. No, this is me talking to the audience.
I'm agreeing.
Yes, good. We haven't scheduled, we haven't rehearsed our advertisement for this. This is not a good advertisement. But anyway, the Sturman is...
Need a packet of food delivered to you, along with a recipe and some really good underpants? I listen to NPR.
What's that got to do with anything? Why are you advertising NPR?
This is a joke that people who listen to NPR are definitely going to get.
Well, we don't want them to listen to NPR. We want them to listen to Desperate Attune.
Yes. On the note of which, the Uduasha book, which should be out by the time you're listening to this, does have a recipe for mashed potatoes. So you get that included.
Don't make promises!
Edit it out then, Tree. I don't know.
When this comes out, this will be in like, what's fucking September or some shit? We better have it out.
You're right. It'll be out.
Anyway, what were we saying? Oh yeah, the Sturman.
Yes.
It's which stands for big man, which means big man in Swedish and other associated languages. It's a politician and extortionist. I have only taken I've just decided to take the playbook name, and I took the XP triggers. I have not taken any of the items or special abilities yet. If I get the items, I think probably there'll be long-term projects to do so. So I won't talk about those now, but the XP triggers are coercion and social influence. So it's really all about being kind of like a sort of like El Jefe sort of vibe. Like you're the guy. Right. You talk people down, you maintain your alliances, you play your enemies against each other, all that sort of thing. So I think the reason I'm going for this is because I think Tier 2 represents Bedrohi's sort of evolution away from being the fighter kind of guy. I mean, he still has all his abilities, he still has the action dots, he still has all his items, so you can still throw down. But I think I'm moving towards being interested in him being the face of the crew, the guy who kind of represents us as a criminal organization and a force to be reckoned with sort of thing. So kind of an unofficial leader of the group, as it were, in terms of its, I guess, more mundane activities. Saida can be our hierophant and all that. You guys can make up your own titles, I don't care.
Great.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
I'm going to keep idolater, but yes. Hierophant is a good word.
Yeah. In terms of your role, idolater isn't necessarily an organizational role as such.
He has been reading his organization handbooks again, I see.
Yeah, I mean, I have to. Now I'm a Sturman. This is important.
Yes. Hierophant is sort of like an HR manager, right?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Yes. Any questions about this decision, or shall we continue?
I actually do have a question, but it seems like Aadiyat did as well, so I will permit him to go first.
Oh no, I just said yeah. Like I will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In that case, I do have a question, which is, do you think that Vidrohi's attitude changes? Like, what is the way that people can tell that something has changed?
I think we're going to see it because, like, for me, this is like what I want to be in season 2. Oh, sorry. Well, I guess it is unofficially a sort of like season of this show, but like tier 2, I mean, right?
Yeah.
So I think like we'll see. I don't want to make promises about what I want to do because it may not manifest. So we'll see.
Sure.
But yeah, I think he's definitely going to carry himself and behave differently.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Any other long-term changes we want to address now?
I'm curious also about Clementine's various relationships, such as they are, but most importantly, Clementine's relationship with a wife? Question mark?
Yeah, I think that can be something that comes up in play, but related to like things that are changing now as we go into this longer downtime.
Yeah, because like I mean that like clearly there is some toxic relationship there, but now we're tearing up, right? So and like what's her name is looking for ways, right, to take advantage. Like House Ansaric is doing extortion on a massive scale. It's possible that Tamara is going to do extortion on a more personal scale.
I hate it. You should do it. Hell yeah.
What do you mean you should do it?
Well, I'm going to extort myself.
Okay.
Well,
great.
trees are going to extort you.
I mean, I'm happy to go up to Tamara and threaten to smack her in the mouth if she tries anything. But yeah.
Yeah. So is the idea that Tamira is going to be leaning more heavily on Clem?
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Tamira ups her game. Absolutely.
I've been talking a lot, but the last question I have is Ustad Shahid is still out there?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we discussed that. Yeah.
Okay. What did you conclude?
That's probably gonna be our next stop.
Yeah. I am going to say that during the downtime, probably what's going to happen is you had a lead on the fire speakers.
Yeah.
And related to that, there's just been a hit on mercenaries. I think this is kind of caused by your crew accidentally, because I think there's a poetic irony in this. I think the fire speakers go underground. And the reason for that is that it's very logical to suspect them of this. You had a deal with the Fursan, right? By which they go like, oh no, this is Kethrisi cultural heritage, is fine. But they still need to blame someone for all the murders. So they're going to blame the fire speakers. And the fire speakers are going to go underground, which means that your lead on your Ustad grows cold. So, tell me about your lair. I think we'll rebuild the lair first, and then we'll see what other things change. We're still going to do downtime actions, so they'll just take place over a longer time. But I have given you each an aspect of Sirek, as Tree suggested. So please tell me how this is incorporated into your new lair. And I will start with the general layout of your lair. I think it was, as mentioned, an old forge. And now I think it's being rebuilt into a school. Like, they are properly rebuilding it so that it looks like some sort of sword school / place of religious education. I think you have some idea of what this might look like, right? They're kind of elegant buildings. There's like plenty of outdoor space with a tiled floor that you can move about on, as opposed to just the dirt floor you had before. So it's, a building of wood and stone now, and not the kind of ramshackle place it was. And then we'll do some detailing. So I put them down in text, but starting with Klow, tell me what the aspect of the bull, war impelling forwards, bulldozing other literally and metaphorically, is incorporated in your building.
in the action of creating this, they have essentially not just taken down our building, but they have taken down most of the block that we were in. They have so essentially the building that we now have is wide. It's not like a single tall building, like a very considered compound. It's rambling and spacious, relatively speaking, especially in the context of Bunderwest. And one wonders how much of this is calculated and Machiavellian, because we are trying to build ourselves up as the representatives of the community and the protectors of the Kethrisi community. And they have given us a school that has essentially destroyed a lot of homes and shops and given us a wide, spacious area. And when I say wide and spacious, I think I'm still talking about like what in any other context would be a fairly modest property. But like in Bunderwest, looks like creme de la creme, like this is with the big man and like and his family and like that sort of like wide, huge suburb. It's like imagining suburbia in the middle of like a crowded ghetto, that sort of thing. So that's the sort of thing that they've done for us, and I think a lot of the people who look up to us are now kind of pissed off. I don't think it's done enough to reduce our community standing mechanically or anything, but it is a problem. And I think that's really, I think that's how I think like the aspect of the bull has manifested itself in the general shape and the breadth and the sort of like, like big walls, big Oh yeah, like, of course it's also walled off. It's not like here's a big playing field for the kids. No, you can't just go in.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's this pointlessly walling it off, even though you maybe don't necessarily want to. It's like, no, this is not a public space. This is the school.
Yeah,
and you can't use it for anything else while it's not in use. That would be silly. It's gotta stay empty when the school isn't in session.
Yeah, and I think like there's one, and on top of these walls, and I think the camera lingers on this, and then we move on to something else. On top of the walls, there are these barbed hooks curving out like snakes towards the ground, such that anyone who is trying to climb in and defy the walls would get essentially ripped open.
Yeah. Okay, in contrast to this, I'm not going to go through this in the order I posted them. I have the list for you. Salty, tell me about the aspect of the mountain, eternity, that which remains, weight and endurance.
Yeah, so this rambling compound would imply that it has been built without purpose, but no, it's not been. It's carefully calculated. Every single architectural design has been planned out perfectly in the form of a hexagon, the most orderly of shapes. And I think every measurement is in base 6, with these sprouting towers at each point of the building, looking out over the district. A watchword.
Okay, I have a follow-up question on that, which is the training yard in the middle of the building? Is that how you're picturing it? Like the building surrounding the training yard? Or is the training yard like one of the triangles making up the hexagon?
I think it's in the center, and it is difficult to get to.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Hexagonal with sprouting towers at each point of the building. Yeah, so you have some altitude as well now.
Nice.
Cool. Okay, then Tree, zooming in a little bit to the details of beauty and decoration here. Tell me about the aspect of sun and moon, brilliance, brightness, gold and silver. Yeah. That is incorporated here. Probably not literal gold and silver because you're not that wealthy, but something like it, right? Like that's the vibe Zurich is going for.
Yeah, I think it may be more brass and copper than gold and silver, right? But
yeah.
I think that actually what Sarek has decided to do is because it's the aspect of the sun and the moon, and we are the rising moon. It has earlier we didn't have boundary walls. We didn't have a nice, lovely outside area or anything. We just had like a shitty gate, right? Or even not even that, just a door or something. Instead, now we have quite a large like gate type structure of beaten brass, probably, and there is an iron wrought, like I wouldn't say necessarily a sculpture, but like it's a figurine made out like it's a 2-dimensional thing, but when you look at it, it's clearly made out of the iron itself, right? And it shows a moon rising over a tree. It is
Nice.
The way that House Amsadek makes clear to us that we can be a rising moon if we like, but the moon itself belongs to the demon. And our tree may attempt to hide it, but its brilliance will shine through, and it does not belong to us.
Yeah.
And it looks great, by the way. Like, people look at it and they're like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we definitely hate ourselves, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. People look at it and go, their first thought is, wow, that looks great. And 2, wow, that must have cost enough to feed like the whole block.
Yep, yep, that's exactly it. Yeah, correct. And we're not allowed to sell it to feed the block either.
Yep. No, of course not. That's a gift from Sarek personally. Yeah, okay. What about the aspect of the ant?
Yes. Okay. So, as for the ant, unity and connectedness, and I think what House Ansarek's idea of connectedness might be that the shops and things that they've bulldozed to, put our like layer over there. Like those people haven't gone away anywhere, right? Like they've made. Like they're essentially using our base as the launching point to more or less try to take over the district one by one. So those displays, those shopkeepers and stuff, they have been given new shops, like that's connected to our building, but they are also sort of paying up now, not to any Kethrisi like central fund or anything like that, but paying rent to Ansarek now, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the hive is sort of for spreading out from our base.
Yeah. Perfect.
And they might be physically connected, like in a like a.
Yeah. So it's convenient for you, but
maybe like
more...
the hexagonal outer walls are like there's shops on the outer face.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, no one else has been. But have you ever been to the stadium in Old Taka, the cricket stadium?
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Also, Newmarket is constructed like this as well.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, the cricket stadium in Old Taka, like the space underneath the stands, it's essentially a market as well. So it's a stadium and a market. And I expect that our training ground and the rooms around it, like space around it, is like beneath that is probably where all the shops are that that Ansarek has now taken under their control.
Lovely. Yeah. So Kethris was taken over and conquered by these people, and now they have ironically established themselves in Bundervest and are your landlords now.
Yeah.
You have power though. Much more than you did before. You are now tier 2. You are a force to be reckoned with, and the architecture itself, of course, invites a certain amount of respect. Jackal and the smaller Skovlander gangs are no longer going to come here and place the claim that you can't defend this, right? Everyone knows that you are the bosses of the Kethrisi parts of the hospitality ghetto. There is no question about it. And with that is the new lair. I'm going to quickly say a couple of things about faction clocks progressing. The Bone Shakers are probably working on tiering up. The Anrakis Fashion Police is close to finishing, so I'm going to put both of these clocks actually at 1 tick to remaining, because some time is passing now. We also have the Water Bears coming for Arryn. This is something that is happening, and I am removing the Ustad Shahed clock, the Ustad Shahed dies clock, and I'm going to say that something has happened to him in his absence. So I'm not saying this clock finishes and he dies, but the situation has changed.
All right.
And we will find out how. But rescuing him as he was is no longer possible. And so these are vaguely the things that have changed around the city, right? The Bone Shakers and the Flatbread Uncles, thanks to you putting your finger on the scale, the Bone Shakers definitely have the advantage now. And this gang of loan sharks is... they already are tier 2, so they now respect you as equals, but they're also ahead of the curve. Because they've managed to make a lot of money from you. I think the other faction that progresses, just to quickly get it off the list, is the Blue Smoke Troop, are now also tier 2. Because they are another strong ally of yours, and they have had the patronage of Rakis. They have managed to pull off an amazing heist against Anishan Rakis in such a way that he doesn't even realize he's been conned. And this has propelled their careers, both in terms of money and in terms of fame. Please tell me if there's anything else you think has changed in Uduasha. We can devote a few minutes to it.
I think Jasper's JLCs, if they still exist, are like a tier 1 faction now.
Yeah, I think they don't exist, in fact. I think that they have been eaten up. Like, the Jezzail Cheese as such still exist, but they're no longer a faction. They have been absorbed into other...
Well, wasn't the point to have them under our thumb? With Omid that the sort of...
Yeah, that's true. So I guess they are still around as a tier 1 faction. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are a weak faction. Most of them, like many of the former people who were loyal to Jasper personally, have gone on to other gangs. Mm-hmm. But it's true that Omid still has brought them together, so there is still a small core of them.
I think it's called Omid's Onagers now.
Wow. They're really a fan of alliteration, huh?
Okay, well, there we go.
I think that... if you're paying attention, you will notice that a former criminal, much embattled over the last few years, close even to losing all his holdings, his entire empire, his lawyer certainly has abandoned him, maybe making a comeback. Because I actually really like Munna, and I would like him to not have been completely destroyed.
Yeah. Absolutely. Munna is on his way back in.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. He's been laying low long enough.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know that he will necessarily use all of his old contacts, right? And his old lawyer Hadil, whom we've also tangled with, may still be on the outs with him or whatever. But it doesn't seem like he personally was killed, right? And he may be yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
I think this is a good segue into also bringing the Hive in, because it feels like now that we're organized criminals and so on, the Hive are someone who, because we're outsiders as well, the Hive are trying to make it in. Maybe there's going to be things there, and that's probably an interesting way to clash with Munna. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's nothing else to add to Uduasha, I think let's start doing our downtime.
Yeah, if something strikes me as something that should have been in Uduasha, I'll say afterwards.
Yeah, of course.
One little thing then. I know we said, so we tiered up, and previously our hunting grounds was the Kethrisi part of the hospitality ghetto. And because now we're tier 2, I think our hunting ground should be the entire hospitality ghetto. Which doesn't mean that we control all of it, but we do get advantages to doing stuff within it.
I think
and
that makes
maybe
sense.
with tier 3 we take Wunderwest, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Uniting Wunderwest would be a feat. It's a very disunited district, so...
Yeah.
But yes, downtime.
Downtime.
Does anyone want to volunteer to go first? Otherwise, I'll nominate someone.
Yeah. I will flag that I have a lot of downtime to do, which doesn't necessarily mean a lot of downtime projects as such, but I want to clear all my stash for reasons. So someone else can start.
I have 2 very quick things to do in downtime. The first is to get healed. Been electrocuted. It's not good.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to make much of a scene out of this. We can just go to We've got 2 doctors, I think, that we can go to. One is Aaron, the other one is...
Follow me.
What was her name? Polomi?
Yeah, which one do you go to? You kind of have a traditionalist and a future leaning.
Hmm.
I mean, we have the Aaron clock, so I'd vote for keeping Aaron in the mix.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Then I think straightforwardly, he's not a cohort yet, is he? Aaron?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is. Then there's no cost to consulting him. So just go ahead then and roll. I think we said it's tier and then plus 1 die for Aaron, I guess. So it's 3 dice because he's an expert.
Cool. See.
And you roll a 6.
That was
So
a
that's
6,
3
a
ticks to
6.
the healing clock. And you can spend 1 coin or other resource to upgrade it to a crit if you want.
Ooh. I mean... yeah, that'll just get me healed, right?
Yeah. It would.
Yeah, I might as well.
Good.
Alright, cool. No longer
Wait.
electrocuted. That's nice.
Something I just want to flag is that you've got tough as nails, right? So you shouldn't have taken -1d on the level 2 harm.
Oh.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't have made a difference anyway. I rolled a 1, 1, and a 2. So.
So your first step is consulting Aaron, and yeah, we don't necessarily have to make it a scene. Let's get back into the action. What is your second downtime action?
Second one is to indulge vice, which can also be done very quickly.
Okay. Yeah. Rather than do a scene here, tell me just one thing. Now that you are like recognized as like one of the warriors of like a recognized sword school, how has your relationship with Sundari Tandori changed?
Okay.
Like maybe it hasn't changed at all, but I think it's interesting to raise the question at least.
I think it might have changed not for the better, but maybe a bit for the worse, because all the attention that Mushrik has got is not good. Like, I don't know if how Sundari Tandori would feel about having known criminal, terrorist Mushrik just turning up, and being very blatant at her restaurant.
Yeah,
so...
I think you're a controversial figure to say the least. So yeah, maybe it's kind of the case now that you have your own like VIP room to dine in, which from your point of view is like, oh great, I get my own private room and free refills of my tea. And from her point of view, it's like, yeah, it's better that no one sees him. Yeah. Maybe that's what's happened then. You have you have like VIP access to the restaurant now, but not for the reason.
One other thing that happened that might have that might change Sundari's relationship with Mushrik, which is that Mushrik accidentally ambushed Orville Dust, her boss.
Yes, yeah.
So...
Who is now sponsoring you in the arena, so it's a very complicated relationship.
There's so much going on all the time.
Yes.
Maybe Sharple Dust is just oversalt his food ever so slightly.
Yeah.
This is the long-term plan to kill you.
Yes, from sodium, apparently.
Very slow diabetes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Go ahead and roll your indulge vice then. I just wanted to sort of establish, right, how this indulging vice looks now. So sure, the staff don't like you as much as they did, but you eat in higher luxury than before, and you get your very own private room. You're not allowed to take guests.
Yeah. I rolled a 4 and a 4. So,
yeah. Do you want to indulge vice again, or are you happy there?
Should be fine. I mean, got 6
we should be fine. You currently have 9 stress. You cleared 4. You have 5 stress.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Oh, it costs money. Alright, fine.
Okay, I'll take you out for dinner. I want to get rid of my money anyway.
Oh yeah.
Don't spend all your money. I need loads of your money to burn this Skovlan.
Okay. I also have things I want to do with my money, but the rest of the money is for everyone.
So you're taking.
Sorry, go on. I was going to make a joke.
You're taking Mushrik out for dinner. Very good.
Yeah, I have calculating, which means I can give one of my downtime actions to someone else. But yes, we're taking Mushrik out to dinner because it's a boys' night.
Okay, roll indulge vice again, Mushrik, and we'll see if this leads to an overindulgence. Then I guess there's a scene here. If not, then not. And it
It
does
does.
lead to an
See,
overindulgence.
what I told you.
Muy
What did
bien.
I say? What did I say? I said it was fine. But
Uh-huh.
no, you just had to take me out for dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't control myself when I see the food, and
Let's see, where would I take an absolute boss like this man? You know, it's
Yeah.
tier 2. We are tier 2 now. It's time to hit the big leagues. Let me really quickly check this. Ash Cloister, I think. No, Foreign District.
I think it's the
Foreign
foreign quarter that has the
Yes.
the guy you're thinking.
Chef Maximilian Molyneux.
What a name.
I mean, if it's boys' night, you should take Aaron.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yes, boys' night.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so please tell us a little bit about this place, because it hasn't been on screen before.
Yeah, I realized that both Saida and Clem could technically are definitely not excluded from Boys' Night from the nature of who they are. But I think the nature of what Boys' Night will specifically entail for these boys will exclude them.
I have to be clear that while Saida may not necessarily be a woman, they are definitely not a boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you try that shit with me, I will cut.
Well,
Yes.
I'm not.
Too old
For
I
other
can't see a
reasons.
lad though.
No, I don't want to be part of Lads' Night. Yes,
Clem and I
Boys'
will
night.
have lads.
okay. You guys do that. So we're taking Aaron. So Chef Maximilian Molyneux, a celebrity chef who runs one of the foreign quarter's best restaurants. Some say he left Duskwall because he killed a man.
Yeah. Spicy.
I think the name of the restaurant is Some Say I Left Duskwall because I killed a man.
I went to prison because I killed a man with this tongue. This is my French accent, but specifically the guy from Ratatouille, which I haven't seen in a couple of years ago. Yes.
I think this is the perfect place for Boys' Night with Sherikatam and Aaron, who is here non-consensually. I guess. I don't know. I don't know why he would want to hang out with us.
I am trying to see what makes sense as a way to spin this for. Okay, yeah. So, I will present you with a choice for what consequence will happen here. I think, and it is. Yeah.
Well, I have a great idea, but you say yours, and then you'll see. Okay, so should I say mine first?
Yeah, say yours first.
Well, Chef Maximilian Molyneux left Duskwall because he killed a man. He's boisterous, spiteful, and huge. What if we get into a fight with him at the end and have to fight him and run away?
Okay. The question I had was, is this a scene, or are you fine with just taking heat? Which, if this is the reason, can still happen. So I'm going to frame it as, you can just take 2 heat as a result of causing a stir at the restaurant, and we don't have to zoom in on it. Or we can make it a scene, in which case, I think there is a chance to escape consequences, but there's also a risk that they will get worse.
I think a really quick scene, because we have a lot to go through.
Yeah, I think we have a lot to get through, indeed.
Yeah. So I think the nature of the scene is essentially, Bidrohi, kind of like, it's nice to spread the wealth a little bit and, kind of like enjoy the good life. And I say, Sharikatam, first we do bottomless brunch, right? Then we take a little bit of a swim in Jasper's little pool thing before, everything went down and all that. And now here we are having meal at the finest, at the best restaurant owned by a potential murderer in all of Uduasha. And this is the life I could get used to. So, Aaron bhai, how do you feel about this life?
I don't mind the life itself, but I do have. I'm not so sure the convicted murderer thing ought to be a selling point. Says kind of diplomatically.
It's so important to have somebody like this in your community, so that this is why diversity is important.
Yeah.
So they can point out that maybe murdering is bad.
Yes.
Oh my god! Now I'm just imagining Salt Bay.
Yes.
Is like playing his knife tricks in the background.
Oh no!
In fact,
I think Mushvik.
You finish. You finish.
No. Yeah, I think Mushvik would be maybe best place to disagree. It says that murder? No, nonsense. We were at war. You know, I never surrendered.
Yeah. And Aaron says, "Oh no, I wasn't accusing you." And he looks towards the kitchen as the chef comes out. As Chef Molyneux comes out, and he looks him up and down. And I think the chef notices you at your table. And I'll try to keep this a brief scene, so I'll just skip to the action. And he looks to Aaron, and there is like a moment of, wait, do these two know each other? And then I think he looks at Mushvik, and he says, Hold on. Are you the one they call Sherikatan?
Never heard of him.
Yes, it is.
Oh no!
It's Sherikatan, everyone.
Yeah. And he leans forwards, and he says, "Yeah, heard about you. Heard you work with Gerben. He owes me money." Because Gerben is the one NPC we've had here who works the foreign quarter, and apparently he owes Molyneux money, and you're one of his friends. This everyone knows.
What's the best way to spin this? Do I want to throw Gerben under the bus, or
You want me to defend your honor?
No. I'm thinking like what's Bushwick? No, I don't think Bushwick is a throw Gerben under a bus kind of guy. You know, like comrades come first always. I think more Bushwick says that work for Gerben. Gerben works for me. Right?
Yeah, he says like, good. Maybe you can settle his tab. I guess the people smuggler enjoys this location too.
How much is it?
Yeah, let's call it 2 coin, which is still a huge amount of money to owe for food. But you know,
and I think Mushvik would say that 2 coin. Because 2 coin, are you kidding? Have you seen the way Gerben lives? There's no way he'd be able to afford 2 coin here, under any circumstances. No, we're not paying that.
I think. Meanwhile, I think we haven't eaten yet. I think we have like ordered the wine, and we have I don't know, been going through the bread. Like I think this is French style, as it were.
Yeah.
So we've been going through the bread and so on. And I think like the meal has just arrived. I think maybe like Molyneux actually brought the food over, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of like taste it. And I chew upon it while this is going on, and I will just say, "Wow, this is shit."
Okay.
You know, like okay, like it's okay, it's fine. Like as just food, it's fine. But like, okay, first of all, there's like next to nothing on this plate. Okay, I don't know what sort of thing you're doing here, but like, there's next to nothing on this plate, and whatever there is, it's like. Not very good. Is that? What is that? Is that foam? I sniff it.
I see where you're going with this. Yes, the restaurant that serves foam. Very good.
And I think Mushvik might catch on to them, or is on the same level. And he goes, I think they're running some kind of scam here. But they they serve you next to nothing. They say that it's worth 2 coin.
Okay, I think you guys are taking some sort of action here to. Probably, I think it's command, because I think what you guys are effectively doing is threatening him. And I think it's a group action. Maybe Bidri is leading it.
I will threaten him very specifically in a Mushvik kind of way, which is to say that I wouldn't want to leave a bad review of this place on my food blog.
What? You're what? You're what? You're what?
It's dialector for club, you see. Mushvik is part of a food club.
Right.
Okay. And then I think the way I'm going to make it a group action for me is to be like, is to first turn to her and say, Aaron Bhai, you can be honest. Do you like this sort of thing?
And I think he says, I'm going to be very honest with you, Bidruhi, which is that I lost limbs in the war, but the worst things were the military rations, and compared to those, this is adequate.
Okay. And I say, okay, Aaron Bhai, I respect your decision. And then I turn to Chef Molyneux and say, you will please immediately take back these, and I point to Sherry Khatam and my plate, our plates, and I say, you will please take back these and bring back proper food.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so it's a command. It's risky. It's not quite desperate, but this is still an angry and sort of connected man.
Yeah. And we'll fight our way out of the restaurant. We'll see. What's the risky, right?
Yeah.
Risky standard?
Yeah, let's call it risky standard because you are still like a tier 2 gang. Your complaints are not to be completely waved off.
Yeah. I'm not going to... I will not push myself or anything for this man. Probably should have, but I didn't.
Okay.
I'm leading this, honestly.
Yeah. So Bidruhi takes a stress. Let's see what Mushfiq accomplishes.
I think I will push myself.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Okay,
risky,
so take 2 stress back of the stress you just regained.
Why not? Oh, see, okay.
There you go. It's a 6.
Yeah. See, this is why you need a food club.
Yeah. I think the reason that you still cleared your stress, Mushfiq, is that as little, like, this food is not very filling, but your vice is interesting flavors, right? And I don't think you've had anything like this before, so it was still like an enjoyable culinary experience just because it was different, I guess. You stare this man down, and he backs away. And okay, so the thing that's still going to happen is he's still going to be vindictive, and he's not going to like you. But if you're like complaining about the substance of the food, I think he's going to do something extremely passive aggressive. So he's gonna back out, and he's going to return with just like a shit ton of fried potatoes, just like a huge quantity of it. And it's not going to be like anything fancy, but he's like, fine, you want substance? Here you go, here's substance.
Unfortunately for him, we're a bunch of peasants. We love this shit.
Yeah, exactly. This is, I guess, why it's a 6 and it doesn't escalate worse, because he's trying to insult you and you're just like,
Yeah. He couldn't resist cooking it in duck fat.
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't.
Wait, do people cook things in duck fat?
Oh yeah, but it doesn't.
Come on, it's Wagyu tallow. And truffle fries. Come on.
Yeah, I guess.
Come on, guys.
I found those things also odd, but I guess I was just raised vegetarian.
Roast potatoes in duck fat, it's a thing.
Yeah, there you go. So you're being served a ton of roast potatoes in duck fat. And his plan was to like insult you with this, but somehow it pleased you more than the food he actually put effort in, which only makes him angrier, I think. But he can't really do anything about it. So
yep.
What a perfect scene.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So because of that 6, you got out of it without any worse consequences than Bidruhi taking some stress.
I love the idea of this possible murderer then joining the flatbread uncles just to get angry.
Yes, just because they hate you for no other reason. Here close the doors to the House of Endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Soap, Psalmistry, called Tree, and Salty. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha. Next time on Desperate Attune.
It's one of those things where like he's awestruck and so the words don't really, come out as much, and he just goes like, are you secretly really cool?
Saida, mango still in her mouth, says, don't tell Bidrohi, or he won't let me hear the end of it. He'll tell me about how I have main character energy again. And it was bad enough the first time.